Welcome back, everybody. So we're live back. Well, not live, but we're back. We're back. We're back. Yes, in this pre-recorded situation, and we're gonna switch roles now. So he's going to interview me. Yeah. So, a bit nervous now.
Why are you nervous?
Because I'm like, what is he gonna ask me? Oh boy. Anyway.
Well, I thought we'd start with, the why behind the what, as I always like to call it.
Woo!
So, I think the first question is going to be, why Beautiful Show? Like, why? What was your process behind, why, the medium through which you tell your story? Like, why now? That sort of thing.
Very, very good questions. Honestly, I struggled with it because for those who haven't yet to hear the song and don't actually know what it's all about my story about how I overcame domestic abuse in the home. And it's not exactly a big happy joy single kind of thing. And usually if somebody's kind of coming into the music industry sort of very first time, the single, most people will probably put something's going to be like a chart banger or something.
Yeah.
No, I chose I went for something slightly different there. But one of the reasons why, answering the first question is why did I choose it? It's because I think it's something that needed to be said and something that needed to be addressed.
Sure.
This thing has been hidden. Oh my gosh, so much. It's crazy. We really have no idea of what really goes on behind closed door. And even with my own story, as the song says, you slap on a bit of makeup, you put on this smile, and you go about your day, and people look at you and look at us and think, yeah, they're fine. It's fine. It's all good. And the complete opposite is true at home, and that is exactly what my story is about. It's the fact that this thing was so well hidden through all sorts of different reasons, shame being one of them, fear being another, and actually not even knowing or understanding what was really going on. And with this whole COVID pandemic, when it came into the light of the media that the domestic abuse cases had risen,
that was a big thing.
For me, that was a green light to really push this thing now. Simply because if people at the moment don't have a voice, then let me be it.
Sure.
And I don't mind. I'll be the voice because I know it's a difficult thing to talk about, and I want to use this opportunity to also raise money for the victims in the process.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I like what you mentioned about the COVID pandemic and the effect that that's had on domestic abuse cases, because people need to hear this message. People need to hear that there's hope and that there's really, this isn't it, Yeah, so... Most definitely. Is that, would you say that that's why it's particularly close to home for you?
Oh, absolutely. For me, my turning point, as I mentioned in the song, in that deepest, darkest moment when God came in so simply and just told me who I was. So simple. And he was just reminded me that actually I was precious, that I was valuable to him, and somebody that he valued so much shouldn't be treated that way. And for me, that was a massive turning point, because then I needed to make some choices. We can't change people and their behavior. And each, as I mentioned in the song, that, you know, he made his choices. I made mine too.
Yeah.
Direct quote, I made mine too. But no pun intended there. But literally, but literally, you can go through counseling. You can do all this wonderful stuff. But at the end of the day, you kind of also want to move forward and
Sure.
and change and grow, and unfortunately sometimes these things turn out for good, and the people are able to work out what's going on in the home, and actually they improve, and the domestic abuse stops, and it's great. And other times it doesn't, and for me it didn't stop. So I had to make the choice of, well, I can stay here and keep being in misery and pain, or I can go. And that's probably the most taboo moment of the track and the story, and why it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because especially being a Christian, that can be quite a taboo thing to say.
Yeah. Wow. just
I'm
just
entering
wow.
hot water now.
I was just gonna say, because like, yeah, I think that's why it's even more important that this message gets heard, so that, you know, those walls around this issue can come down and people can start to see, well, that we can start to see voices being heard. Wow. That's really fascinating. So you mentioned earlier about how you've been working with charities to raise awareness for this issue. How do people get involved in that? Like, how does that work?
Oh, yes, good question. So how this has been set up is that every single time Beautiful Show is bought, Women's Aid and Restored Lives are supported through it. So literally, it's like as soon as the track is bought, money gets shot in their direction. So Women's Aid, if people don't know about it, is a fantastic charity that supports domestic abuse victims. And it's not, I know it's called Women's Aid, but they do actually help guys. And yes, guys suffer from this too. And that's something that I also want to raise awareness in, because that doesn't get spoken about at all, really much. It's literally, we like to focus on the women's story, but there's a whole lot of guys which are suffering too. And but that's probably another rabbit trail we can go down another time. But the second charity is Restored Lives, and oh my gosh, this is an incredible charity which literally helps people navigate walking through divorce and separation.
Sure.
And they're just fantastic, and you can Google them and you can find them, but they really give the people the support they need to walk through this difficult time.
That's really beautiful. I love that there's kind of there's that kind of on the ground involvement as well, that it's not just kind of it's not just you like being a voice for these people, but also empowering other people to find their own voice, and that's really beautiful.
Thank you very much. It wasn't easy to do this, and I wrestled with it, as you know.
Yeah.
But I really wrestled with it, because I knew that well, for one thing, all my business is going to be out there.
Yeah. Well, there is that.
Yeah. But and if I'm being honest, I had to deal with the fear of the judgment and misunderstanding.
Sure.
But my main focus ended up having to be the people and who are going to be helped and supported through this, and to give them that voice, because as I mentioned before, it's just something that's not really talked about. And I wanted to try and communicate God's heart to the victims as well, and give them hope that just as he literally looked into my eyes and said, "You are precious and you are not supposed to be treated like that." I want this song to reach those people who are just feeling that they're absolutely worthless. And I want them to hear that same promise to themselves, to know you are precious and you are not meant to be treated like that. That's the thing that is burning in my heart, that I want them to know without a shadow of a doubt, that you are precious and you are not meant to be treated like that, and to help them on this journey into freedom. And this is also one of the reasons why I did the blog, to help them to process through the things that they may be thinking and feeling.
Wow. Wow.
Got a little bit deep, didn't it?
Well,
sorry, not sorry.
It had to. Don't apologize. Gosh. Oh, wow. And you mentioned a blog. Where can people find the blog?
Yes. So it's a part of my website. Don't know why I've got 7 there, but let me just come back. We're in England, yes. GG Creative Arts, www.ggcreativearts.com. There's a lot of space where you just see right at the top of that website blog. But for all you Linktree fans, I've made it ridiculously simple. But if you just go to my Linktree, which is also GG Creative Arts, literally, as soon as you put that into Google, you will see a nice little box saying blog, and you can read through there. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
This has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for interviewing me, Monsieur Musical Genius Producer.
Oh, stop it.
Alrighty, people. So there you have it. This is like our little mini interview. Try it again. Little mini interview where we've just been asking each other questions. So I hope that just gives you a little bit of insight into our creative processes, a little bit about me and about behind the why behind the story, and the why behind the music, and how that was interpreted, and how we got to the final bit of Beautiful Shows. So guys, if you haven't heard the track yet, Chalet, where have you been? Hey!
What are you up to? Come on, get to it.
Seriously. Come on now. Go on it. And there's 2 versions. You can actually see the video version of it. There's actually like a recorded version that I did, and that's on YouTube now for you to view. And of course, if you head over to Spotify, Deezer, Amazon Music, iTunes,
It's everywhere.
What?
Gosh,
it's all there. It's all there. Just go ahead, listen, and for every time the track is bought, 2 charities are supported. You have Women's Aid and you have Restored Lives. So, mate, go ahead, get involved and enjoy. But for now, we're gonna sign off, and there'll be more from us later. We're gonna talk about some other stuff. But I've been your girl Gigi.
I've been Mike.
Thank you for listening, guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.